In today's video, I'm going to tell you the process of how to go from a rookie to a rock star selling final expense in your first 30 days. If you're aspiring to be successful selling final expense in person or over the phone, then this video is for you. I'm going to give you the blueprint, step by step, week by week, on what you need to do to give your best chances to see success quickly in the final expense business. My name is David Duford. I own Duford Insurance Group. We train agents nationally to sell final expense in person and over the phone. Our niche is one-on-one intensive mentorship, and we back it with our make money guarantee. Please head over to davidduford.com/FAQ to learn more. All right, let's get started. So first of all, I like to look at this in some kind of like week-to-week day. What are you doing over there? I got a new German Shepherd, and she likes to be naughty, I think, when I'm not throwing the ball to her. Anyways, we look at this kind of like a week-to-week basis as far as getting started and going forward. So I'm going to break everything down on what you need to do as soon as you have your license, you've picked the agency you want to join. What do you do then in order to ensure the fastest level of success? So number one is getting the script down and getting the right type of leads. So this is really important. Your first week getting started should be getting in your head down exactly what to say and how to say things, whether you're setting appointments, booking appointments in person by door knocking, selling over the phone. You got to be good in the script, and you got to learn it word for word. Don't make it up. Follow a system that's already been proven, and you've got to get the right leads. So let's break down that a little bit further based off of whether we're doing face-to-face or telesale. So number one, if we're doing face-to-face, then I recommend when you're practicing your script, you spend half of that time practicing the appointment setting script and the door knocking. So like if you spend 4 hours a day practicing your script, 2 of those hours should be dedicated to appointment setting and door knocking. And then 25% should be spent in the pre-qualifying stage. That's where you ask the questions. And then the objection handling closing stage. Those are the most important parts of the script. Not every part of the script is equally important. Some are more important than others. But the point is you got to know which ones to spend the time with, because if you spend your time doing the things that are least important but easier, you're not going to get the same impact as the repetition and role playing that you'll get out of those that progress you closer to the sale. And really half the battle is getting in the door when it comes to face-to-face. So we want to make sure that we're getting good at the front door script or setting appointments over the phone. Now, if you're doing telesales, half your time should be spent on the opening part of the script. And what I mean by that is the opening is the most important. You got to get through that initial 30 seconds of objection, of pushback that you're going to get, the hesitation the client has, and a lot of that's going to feel unnatural until you role play it again and again and again. So you want to spend half your time doing that, and then a quarter of your time rebuttaling objections at the end of the close. There's a lot more objections in final expense telesales than face-to-face, especially at the close and the beginning of the presentation. So you got to get those objections down. Let me think about it. Let me talk to my kids. I don't give out my social security number. Don't give out my bank account number. Got to be prepared to overcome those, and role playing constantly with your dog, like me, or your spouse, or your kids, or your trainer. You need to do this over and over again until you just automatically do it. And you want to do as much of that as possible in those early first days in your first week, because it makes a tremendous difference. One other thing too, before we get to leads, make sure you record yourself. A lot of the things that you do, you don't recognize until you actually suspend yourself in a third party way and then listen to what you said while you're in the heat of the moment. And listening to yourself is probably the easiest, most effective, but less used strategy to overcome the problems that you have in your sales pitch. So make sure you're recording yourself doing the presentations. I remember when I first started, I recorded myself on camera, and it was very helpful in progressing myself to where it is that I am today. The other side of this is leads. This is where a lot of agents screw up because they have bad mentorship. Their IMO is actually a lead vendor that they're hustling a bunch of garbage to, so they make money off of leads that are really not leads. They're just like old, aged, years old leads, or just data like glorified cold call leads. So you want to make sure you do the leads right just as much as you do the scripts right, because having one or the other off can basically conclude your business way faster than you want. So buying the right kind of leads means this: buy fresh and exclusive leads that are never resold, like they were just generated yesterday, right? Not leads that were generated years ago. And you don't want leads that you're like the 5th or 6th person in line. Those are going to be a lot more difficult to sell than if it was the first one. And again, buy more than you think. That's another thing that agents screw up in that first week, is they get scared because they're starting a brand new business and they undershoot the amount of leads they actually need. It's better to have more than you need than less than you need, okay? The worst problem, or the best problem to have, is too many people to see. The worst problem to have is too few. Usually the best problem that comes, or what comes with the best problem, is a lot of business written. Yeah, you're behind and you feel a little stressed, but if you're gonna feel stressed either way, and you will, I'd rather it be about writing a lot of business and playing catch up than not writing any business at all and wondering where you're gonna be, why you're even here to begin with. So one is more psychologically desirous than the other. So make sure you're buying the right leads and the right amount of leads. How much leads should you need? If you're full-time and final expense, 30 direct mail face-to-face leads a week, direct mail for face-to-face, and then 40 to 50 Facebook leads for face-to-face, and then around 100 plus if you're doing telesales and doing outbound calls. Now, week 2, you have to burn the bridges and go all in. Week 2 for us at the Ford Insurance Group is the week in which we push our agents out into the field or on the phone to start attempting to make sales. We don't want you to get too comfortable with this training process. Training shouldn't last more than 7 to 10 days max. And if an agent won't go out there and actually sell after they start training with us in that 7 to 10 day period of time, and they don't have a really good reason, we get rid of them, we fire them. Because if you are delaying the launch, then you probably never will. You have to strike while your momentum is high, and part of being a rock star in this business is taking action quickly, even when you know you're not aware of every little nook and cranny and every little detail. You'll learn as you go, as is anything in life, especially performance-based. So what can you do to give yourself the all-in, burn the bridges type of mentality? First of all, work 50 plus hours a week. A lot of agents, they want to like do the least amount of work for the most amount of money. I get it. I like that too, but you have to earn the right to get that. I don't think you should start with that kind of mentality. You have to start with, I got more time and more capability, but I have to go and spend it and develop the experience so maybe I can lower the time amount to get the amount of money so I don't have to spend all the time in the field. But in the beginning, you got to put the time in. There's just no way around it. If you're not willing to do that, please don't do this business. The other side of this is think about this business in inputs, not outputs. So when that second week in the field, when you're on the phone or you're door knocking or setting appointments or running appointments face-to-face, think about activity, not about the money. I know you want to think about the money because that's what really we're doing this for, but it's the inputs that lead to the outputs. It's the door knocks, the calls that lead to the closed policies. And if you think about doing your activity and doing as much as possible, the money usually follows as long as you have a great presentation, you got a great script, you got great training, and you got good leads in enough quantity. But inputs come first, then outputs. Get yourself thinking that way and not thinking so much between appointment to appointment or knock to knock or call to call, but week to week. Think about you're living in the present, but you're working over the longer haul, and that's going to put you better in a psychological state of seeing success faster. Week number 4, or 3 to 4, at this point you want to duplicate and scale. You're putting in the groundwork to being successful as a rookie, moving to a rock star, and this business is thankfully simple. What you're doing in that second week mirrors pretty much what you'll do for the rest of your career selling final expense. So my request to you, my ask to you is be competitive with yourself. See what activity you did that second week in the field and then beat it. Do more knocks, calls, presentations, whatever it is. Try to push yourself to another limit. Now that you've kind of gotten to this gist of things, push yourself to that next level when it comes to activity. Make sure you're recording your sales calls, whether it's over the phone or in person. Listen to yourself present. See how you sound. Do what's called Kaizen, continuous improvement. Look for opportunities to better yourself so that you're selling and then being successful selling. Make sure, keep focused more on anything else, seeing the people, picking up the phone, making the knocks, doing the presentations. Stay committed to the activity. Don't get distraught or distracted into the shiny object syndrome. This business is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. And it's all about seeing the people and reminding yourself day to day, appointment to appointment, that's what it takes to do it. And the last thing I'll suggest to you before I wrap this up is go the extra mile. We've all heard this stuff, right? I'm not telling you anything you haven't heard. Do really hard work. But here's the thing, guys. I've seen it time and again. I've recruited agents for a decade now, since 2013. And the agents who are successful, they're not like 10 times better than the average agent. They're just like 10% better. But that extra little 10% on everything that they do, the extra time in the field, the extra attempt to overcome an objection, the extra attempt to knock another door, to go a little bit longer, there's an exponential outcome from all of this extra effort that yields to extraordinary results. So what's my point? My point is don't do the minimum. Do the maximum if at all possible, but go the extra mile. Because that over time, the truth, the reality, if there's a secret sauce in this business that separates the failures from the successes, the mediocrity from the superior, is doing the fundamentals consistently for 5 to 10 years. And that starts with today's activity. Go a little bit further in everything that you do, multiply that by years, and I guarantee you, you're going to see more success and be more successful in this business than the vast majority of agents out there. My name is David DuFord. Hope you enjoyed this training. Please check out davidduford.com if you're interested in joining DuFord Insurance Group to see what we're looking for in an agent and to learn how to apply. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. See ya.